Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. In this video, I'm at the Southern Living Idea House in Asheville, North Carolina to do a outdoor garden tour of the space. I did show a little bit of the interior in some video at the beginning of the video. Beautiful house inside and out. Keep in mind, as I'm walking around showing you the landscaping, this is a very large lot. And so it can eat a whole lot of plants very quickly. And this was all newly planted. And so they're very immature plantings at this point. It will look great. It's going to take a little while to fill in. They planted them here a couple months ago or so, so they've settled into the ground. A thing here or there has struggled transitioning in here. They've got underground irrigation. They've got fescue turf here, and they've got everything mulched with what looks like a hardwood mulch. Like I say, again, it's a big lot, and so what they've done is mass planting. Patches of mass planting all over the place, but again, it's going to take a couple seasons of growing for these things to fill in and really match the scale of the house behind me. So let's get started walking around. So the first thing I want to show you is these slate pavers, which go from the road where the camera is and lead you down to the house. I'm going to say these are about 4 feet in width, maybe 3 foot in this direction. They definitely fit the scale of the house, and I think that's important if you're going to do any kind of hardscape work. It really needs to match whatever the scale of the house that you're working on. They've got irrigation running right now, and as we walk around, as I walk around with the camera and show you some things, I believe that the irrigation's just been set on automatic and it's just been running regardless of rain, regardless, it's hitting me in the back right now, regardless of conditions, and there are some things that have been overwatered, and I'll point that out as we go around. So here's the driveway entry here. There is a 2-car garage that's been put on it here, and a covered entry right there, and a door out of the side of the garage is under that covered entry, and then a covered entry that leads you into the house. So that's kind of nice. Once your car goes in there, you're led through a couple tunnels basically to get inside the house. The area off the left-hand side of the driveway, I'll show you the pieces over there in just a minute. And I'll start right here. There's some Chef's Choice rosemary that was planted here. I think this is going to be one of the examples I'll use of overwatering where this rosemary is a little off color there. I think as soon as if you can back off on the watering, it would be a problem. This tree right here is a Carolina silver bell. Blooms in the spring, and then it forms these little seed pods. This is a good way to identify these in the fall. Really beautiful foliage on that tree. That'll be a nice piece right there. That is a native. And then down here you see these Stelladora daylilies still blooming. This is that evergreen Stelladora. I planted it on a one-day landscape job last year, and I actually do maintenance at that house, and they've bloomed all summer long. And then they stay evergreen. These are baby gem boxwoods planted along the side of the driveway right here. I did a video sometime last year at the old house for these snow joey viburnum that are planted right here. Really nice. That's a really nice viburnum there. And then let's see. You can see the from the driveway over here. They have those same bluestone pavers that lead you to the front door. More baby gem boxwoods planted right here. And then we've got some gold mop cypress right here. There's 3 large trees that were left here in the front yard. One of them is a pine right there, and then 2 pine. You've got a pine, an oak, and a maple there. This is Everillo Carex. And you can imagine once this fills in how bright this will be in this space. They've used gold foliage quite a bit. When you have a dark, potentially shadowy, kind of area where, the trees are all around like this, these brightly colored chartreuse plants will really stand out. There was lots of liriope planted, and again, just big swaths of pieces have been used because there's so much space to cover here. This is that mountain snow pieris I've planted at my house. They're budded up. They'll bloom in the late winter, and I believe this is a blue point Blue Point juniper right there that's been planted. There's some larger ones left of the driveway I'll show in a few minutes. And there's a dogwood. So we've got another native tree tucked up in this corner. Then there's 3 Distilleum right here that look like cast in bronze to me is probably the variety. There's some pancake arborvitae that were planted right here under this window. This is one of the bedrooms in the house that's on the front of the house. This is a bedroom here, and there's a library here. I believe I showed that at the beginning of the video. There's some spirea here. I think these are Little Bonnie, which is a little dwarf pink spirea I just planted at my house as well. If we swing around here, these lavender are definitely the victim of water. They don't like our clay soil, particularly up here in North Carolina, and Western North Carolina has it really badly. I just started at that rosemary and worked my way around the front of the house toward the front door over there. Out here a little closer to the road, this is that Touch of Gold holly, which I've covered. I've got one of these planted in the ground at my house. These will get 3 or 4 feet wide, and so they'll fill in this area eventually. And you can see what a bright spot of color this will be. There's some oak leaf hydrangeas that were planted here. These should grow quite a bit next year. These are actually native, and so I think they'll do just fine in whatever conditions they're throwing at them out here. But this one looks like it's put on a fair amount of growth. Those are those lavender that we looked at. And here there's some ground cover phlox here, which I'm in a big open space right here. And so I do think this is their one area where they're gonna get lots and lots of sun. So I'm guessing that's why they did these ground cover phlox here. A few of them have struggled from the water, but they'll grow like crazy in the spring after they flower. There's a vitex. I'll back up here so I don't skip this. There's a vitex that still has a few flowers on it right here. Always have a lavender type flower there. These are extremely tough plants, and most people use crepe myrtles for these in the South for these kind of low flowering, summer flowering ornamental trees, but vitex is definitely a very good choice, and it's super long bloomed. Pollinators absolutely love them. Headed up this way, this is that Dragon Prince cryptomeria right here. Again, another thing that's going to get 3 or 4 feet wide eventually. I've shown this plant a few times on the channel. I've got one planted in front of my shop in the backyard. Here is an upright narrow holly, and I actually don't know which one this one is. This may be Oakland. Some possibility that it's Oakland holly. Nice specimen. It's probably 7 feet tall. It's been sheared really nicely. Here are those big stones I showed at the beginning there. You can get some idea of the scale of these. It's kind of hard to tell from the camera, but there's my foot on one of these. So quite large. These are Blue Pacific junipers, and they'll cover this space over here pretty quickly once they get some roots under them. And then there's a pink dianthus that was planted out here and has definitely been suffered from overwatering. The ones that are fighting through it look great, and it won't take them long to fill in. But there are some that I think they're going to lose completely just where they've been overwatered. There's 3 more hollies out here on the planted on the corner. This one has a much smaller leaf, and so I don't know the variety on this one. I do like it. It's got a super narrow foliage. It almost reminds me of Foster holly, but Foster has a slightly longer leaf than this one. But I don't know the variety, but there's so many of these upright narrow hollies now. There's some Fire Chief arborvitae that was planted here. 2 of them in that space, and then there are some, these are Obsession nandinas. And these may be spaced a little bit far apart if they're actually trying to cover this space, because they kind of grow 2 or 3 feet tall and a little bit narrow. And there's some lemon lime nandinas behind those, mirroring that other that bedroom on the other side over there. There's some pancake arborvitae, and then those Little Bonnie spirea. They have a couple containers here at the entryway, and it's about time to plant these, trade these out for fall planting. We're right here at the beginning of September. There's palms that were planted in here, and on the other side there's some English ivy that was in that one. In this container right here, this is Steed's holly. Steed's is a little broader shaped upright narrow holly. There's Sky Pencil's the narrowest of the Japanese hollies right there, and there's some asparagus fern planted with that one, but they use Steed's in these lower pots. This is a great, Steed's holly is a great plant for a container. It just, you can keep this whatever size and shape you want it, keep it in there for a long time. The white flowers in there are Angelonia, which the pollinators really love. Another container here mirroring it on the other side, and the same thing with that Sky Pencil holly right there. So I've covered everything that's been newly planted here in the front space. I'm going to come over to this side, which has another road along the side of it right here. Kind of excited about this piece. This is a Tokyo Tower fringe tree that I have one in my yard. This one's a little bit bigger than mine is, but I've covered this tree, super narrow, upright fringe tree. Coming along this this side over here, there's some autoleucon laurels. This autoleucon doesn't get very tall; it just tends to get wider than tall. It's got a few flowers on it now. Typically, though, blooms in the mid to late spring. There's a sweet gum that was planted here. I don't know if this is one of the fruitless sweet gums. There are new varieties that are fruitless, so you don't have to deal with the little balls that fall off of them. My guess is that is one of them. There's some more Distilium here. I'm guessing cast in bronze. Another, I think, overwatering victim. There's a blue point juniper here. Not sure how much sun this side gets. I think this is actually the east side of this house, and I think it may ultimately be a hair shady for a conifer right up against the house on this side. This is Leucanthemum, and I've covered these two Leucanthemum from the Southern Living Plant Collection. They're fantastic plants. I've got 4 of them planted in my backyard, 2 different varieties, but there's one of the flowers on them right there. They just flower and flower. Just great plants. Let's see, what have I missed here? There's a serviceberry. It's in the process of going dormant here. Probably going dormant a little bit early because it's just stressed from being newly planted. There's another native that they've added in here. There's a couple nice containers on the side of the house. That's Emerald Arborvita as the centerpiece in there. And then there's a couple Coleus in here, and there's some sort of variegated euphorbia. Beautiful plant. I'm not sure what variety of euphorbia that is, but I can at least get it down to euphorbia. There's more Obsession Nandinas over here. There's some blueberries that were planted right there. These are Deer Dolores hydrangeas, still blooming here as they're going into fall. This is a remontant variety. I just planted one of these at my house, and there's a video for, I think, how to plant a hydrangea or something like that, but that was a Deer Dolores that I planted in that video. Here's that narrow leaf upright holly again. Again, it's similar to Foster number 2, but I think that it's obviously a newer cultivar. I don't know. It's a really pretty plant though. It's very similar growth habit to that Oakland holly that I showed you planted in the front. As we move on down, looks like baby gem boxwoods there. There's another one of those Snow Joey viburnum. Spinning back around here, there's some more oak leaf hydrangeas. So they've carried a lot of the things we saw in the front. You know, they've carried them around. So back over here to where I started on the left-hand side of this driveway. I've got some construction noise now. There are other houses being built in this subdivision, and so if you hear that kind of thing, that's what's going on. There's some autoleucon laurels that were planted over there. There's a red maple that's been put in here. It looks like there's greenway that runs along the side of this property. There's some more gold mop cypress here, some taller blue points. Again, I think that one right there is another victim of the water, of the irrigation system. As I move down this driveway more, there's a big planting of blueberries. I've used several different varieties in here. It looks like I'm about to do some blueberry videos at the house that you'll see me planting some blueberries very soon. And I also just planted this nightlight Chamaecyparis at my house, 2 of them. And these are nice. These are nice big ones here. I believe this holly on the corner, this really dark one right here, is robin. I believe that's a robin holly. Looks great right there. There's a big container here at the end. There's a drainage place for the driveway here to get this, to prevent it from going over this bank that I'll show you in just a minute. There's a chrysanthemum, fall chrysanthemum there in that container, and then I think that's bacopa, that's the annual that's planted with it. Along the back end of the driveway here, you've got these nightlight Chamaecyparis, although that looks like that's one of those forever Goldie arborvitaes right there. There's another one right there, upright, narrow growing gold arborvitaes, but these are the nightlight Chamaecyparis that I just planted at the house. Another one of these giant containers. I believe maybe this container is probably getting a little more shade than that one was over there. That's probably why it's not as full. There's another upright narrow juniper here, and then we got some rhododendrons planted along the back. This back of this house is just beautiful. I'll show you more of it in just a minute with the I'll put the camera on the tripod when I finish up the video so you can see the back of this house. It's just really quite striking. There's a screen porch here, a big open patio or deck here, and then a big patio down here with a very large rocks were used to fieldstone to create these retaining walls for it. But on the back of the garage wall here, we've got rhododendrons have been planted. And actually, if I spin back around, down here at the bottom of this slope, they've seeded this right there, and there's that netting here to keep the erosion at bay while the seed comes up. They planted some rhododendrons down here in the bottom as well. This is a very large lot. I don't know how large this lot is. My guess is 3/4 of an acre, 2/3 of an acre at least, something like that. Maybe a little more. I don't know. They may own a little bit of that wooded area behind it. Right here are some deciduous azaleas, and they're about to lose their leaves, so kind of ignore the spotting on there, but there's the flower buds for the spring are right there. They'll be brightly colored flowers in the spring. Those are the native azaleas. Right here, we've got some cherry laurels planted. There's 5 of them right below this deck. I think probably likely another one of those Deer Dolores hydrangeas planted here. We've got the lemon lime nandinas repeated there. And then there's some coreopsis planted here, and they're doing quite well. They'll fill in more when they come back in the spring. There's some heucherella right here, which look great. And then if I cross over, we're going to repeat a few things right here. Here's this screen porch. And there's this, the dining room is surrounded in glass here and overlooks this back patio. And then here's the outdoor seating area right there. So basically everything across the back of this house, including this back bathroom, overlooks this back patio area. Probably the nicest doghouse you're gonna see anywhere. And then right here, more of these deciduous azaleas. I'm sorry, this construction noise is going to pick up here as I get around the back of this, further around the back. Big giant stones were used to create these steps, and I'm going to watch where I go as I go down them. Nice fire pit and chairs around it. This is the biggest touch of gold holly I've seen anywhere, and in these containers back here. What a really bright spot of color. That is, and it's in a pretty shady space for the last 2 months, and it's held this color beautifully. This ice plants planted along the bottom of this lower patio, and another one of those touch of gold hollies right there. Right. So here's the big doghouse. I don't think Holly would actually go in there. I think she would look at me like I was crazy if I was trying to give her a second place to live. But it is a really nice house that the roof and everything matches the house. This is a Utopia plum yew. There's a few more of these used down at the bottom of the bank as well. I've shown this ground cover prostrate plum yew many times on the channel. You get a shady space. It's just a super easy ground cover plant. These are blush pink nandinas. We saw Obsession and Lemon Lime earlier. They're starting to get their red color for the winter. They turn bright red in the winter time. There's 3 more rhododendrons up in here. And they've used this river rock because of all these spots on this roof come together in one spot. So they've used that river rock to prevent any erosion on the back of the house. So again, sorry about the construction noise. I've got machines beeping all over the place right now while I'm shooting this. I came down below this lower wall just to kind of show you the scale of this. This is about a 4-foot tall wall made out of fieldstone. Got some moss on the side of it and everything. It's really really nice retaining wall. There's a secondary retaining wall at the top of this lower patio with steps going up right there. The steps are made out of very large stones, and then of course, as you can see, the lines on the back of the house are quite beautiful. It's a nice landscape. Again, it's such a big space that it would be difficult to make this look like a finished landscape, you know, directly out of the gate. And we're having a year this year where there's limited plant availability or size on the plant availability. But I think they've done a really nice job. I think over the course of the next couple spring seasons, this will fill in nicely. But they've left a lot of holes where whoever ends up in this house can really add some personal touches, find some interesting plants that they want to add. So thank you very much for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for upcoming content.